folks. I love doing my monologue sitting down, so the benches here, perfect touch. As we continue to travel, we end up in another great city, this time in the state of Ohio. Welcome to Cleveland. This is one of the three major cities of Ohio, all starting with C. There's Cleveland, where we are right now. There's Columbus, the capital, and down in the southwest, there's Cincinnati. But today we are going to be exploring all that Cleveland, Ohio has to offer. Cleveland, Ohio is rich in history and culture. It's another one of those northeastern Rust Belt cities, having its glory days rooted in the industrial era of the United States, but there is still quite a lot to do, even though the industrial era is over. First things first, let's see what's back here in the West Side Market. So that was the farmer's market area of the West Side Market. You had your usual vegetables, fruit, produce, all of that type of thing. The usual fare. And now we're gonna enter the real marketplace when you have all these stands. It's a huge auditorium of just all these shops and markets. It's a grand old thing. Let's go check it out. I'd love a meat pie. One, please. Here. Sure. All right, now wasn't that just an amazing experience? That West Side Market here in Cleveland, Ohio really reminded me of the time we went to the Amish Lancaster market. And although the markets look kind of similar, the vibe of the markets were a lot different. You had in Lancaster a lot of these Amish shops, but here in Cleveland you have a lot of these markets and shops based on the people living here and the immigrant groups who have been here for a few generations now. For example, the Central European peoples like Poles and Hungarians. There were a lot of shops with those types of food. Additionally, there were a lot of Mediterranean shops. In fact, I thought, you know, I'm here in Cleveland, a place of wonder and awe, this great big city. I may as well eat something, and so I wanted to give one of those Mediterranean Middle Eastern shops a shot. So I bought something called a meat pie. Alright, so this is what a meat pie looks like. It's this triangular shaped, I guess you would call it a pie, filled with delicious meat inside. Should be a savory treat. The best part about this is that the meat has this sort of Mediterranean spice. It's amazing. Try one for yourself. Go to the West Side Market in Cleveland and get a meat pie. Additionally, at the same shop, I bought off camera something called baklava. Now, baklava is a great pastry. Every time I find a place that sells baklava, I'm eager to buy it for myself. You know why? Because it's an amazingly tasty treat. It's this Mediterranean pastry that's flavored with honey and nuts, and it's very flaky. So be careful when you eat it, you could cause a mess. Now, although I prefer going to these smaller towns and cities, we here at the Coverage Project aim to explore everything in our path. Larger cities like Cleveland, Ohio are on the list. One thing I do like about these larger cities, though, there is much more of a cultural mosaic around. So, for example, in the West Side Market here, you had all these shops from all different cultures. And with that, there is such variety. So if you are one who likes getting a taste of all these different cultures in one spot, well, larger cities are the place to be. I haven't even told you all where we are right now. If you can see that body of water, that is Cleveland Harbor, a protected area of Lake Erie. Cleveland is right up against Lake Erie, and so you have all these boats that come through, and as we saw, some people like to use the lake for fun and recreation, like on those jet skis. Being situated right snug up on the Lake Erie shore, Cleveland has benefited a lot economically from its geographic location. The city acts as sort of one of many port cities along Lake Erie. One of the adverse effects, though, is all the trash that ends up on the shore. Cleveland being a very industrial city, there's a lot of bricks and debris that are just laying up on the beach shore. I mean, tell me that's just a natural part of the beach. All these bricks and artificial stones laying on the sea. This is the Cuyahoga River. That's right. We visited this place upstream just a video ago. This is Cleveland's main river. Notice, that's all the cargo. And this could be shipped from here to, who knows, Chicago, up into Canada. The Great Lakes allow for a whole system of trade. Did you know, could you believe that this river was so polluted by Cleveland's industry that it would sometimes catch fire? It would sometimes just have whole fires burning across the river. And it's above a river. You'd think water quenches fire, but it was just so polluted. It wasn't pure water. Well, that is a ship. So now, the question is, what is this ship used for? Is it for tourism? Looks too rusty. Maybe for trade, commercial purposes? I mean, I don't see any cargo on it. Maybe military defense purposes? I don't know. But one thing's for sure, this ship is mighty impressive. Good job, Cleveland. So, one last fun fact until we head downtown. You decide whether the fact is fun or not. Cleveland, Ohio has a very, very long coastline within its city limits. I think it's said that Cleveland, Ohio has the longest coastline of any city in the US. Now correct me if that's wrong, that's just what I saw on the internet. But off we go to downtown. This is the reality of tourist attractions. It takes a few minutes just to get the right shot because everybody wants their good picture, right? I mean, me as well as everyone else. So we wait our turn and eventually we get a good shot. And then we reach this pyramid. If you want to talk about iconic American culture, no place is better to explain a bit about it then the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame right here in Cleveland, Ohio. For the latter part of the 20th century, this genre of music, well, I don't know if it's the one we're hearing right now, but this genre, rock and roll, took over the whole world. As it evolved from rhythm and blues, an up-tempo genre, to the various subgenres we have of rock and roll, no place is better to highlight it than right here in Ohio. Ohio being the birthplace of rock and roll, so it's only fitting it would be here. This museum behind us is dedicated to the history of rock and roll and how it was started and how it became just this worldwide phenomenon. So, if you have time and a little bit of money, check this place out right here in Cleveland. Just give me a call. Goodbye, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The great thing about this place is that it is right next to the city center, so it's only a short walk away if you want to get from the bustling streets to this famed worldwide attraction. All right, here we are, the heart of the city, downtown Cleveland. This is where all the magic happens in the city. As you can see though, the buildings are quite modern. Kind of a contrast from the original development of this great city with all the more Gilded Age buildings and the Industrial Age buildings. Being the second most populous city in all of Ohio, of course, this is going to be a cultural hub. Oh, look at this. It's a giant rubber stamp. The only city which has a greater population in Ohio than Cleveland is Columbus, and that's the capital of the Buckeye state. Oh, hold on. Bunch of joggers. And this is the Cleveland City Hall. Of course, it's going to be a huge building. Well, of course it has to be a big building because all of the high-profile politicians of the Cleveland City need a huge building to do their business. Yes, I suppose the architecture is just utterly impressive, but do all these politicians need these grand buildings to conduct business? Couldn't they just do it at somebody's house? Wouldn't that make things a lot more simple, less confusing? The year is 2021, far removed from the glory days of Cleveland, back when industry was the main source of the city's economy. And although that's the case, and this city is sort of classified as one of the major cases of being a Rust Belt city, there are still lots of things to see and learn from Cleveland, Ohio. So I think that's all we can really do in one day's journey. Like many of these grand cities, you can only do so much within a few hours of exploring, walking around. So I think we've done a great job for one day walking around, seeing what Cleveland, Ohio is all about. Anyway, coming to you from downtown Cleveland, Ohio, in front of the grand old City Hall. More travels to come. I will see you at the next location.